Hello, everyone, and welcome back to El Jefe N Scale. Pleasant Sunday evening to everybody. And right now, what I'm working on is doing the power lines between the utility poles. And in doing so, I've discovered it's even more enjoyable than ballasting track. Ha ha ha. So yeah, it's really something else trying to get these power lines up because it's a delicate balance of tension and slack, because what I've discovered is when you get the first, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put four lines across each utility pole. So as you can see, I have two installed there, and then I'm just gonna put other two more on the opposite sides, which will total four lines between these utility poles. Any more than that is just gonna be inconceivable, as far as what goes into this. So what I'm doing here is I'm through strategic use of medium viscosity CA and accelerator. I am just stringing these up, and again, you have to be really careful about your tensions, because if you have the tension right on one and then you go to glue the second one, if you put too much tension in between the poles, you can cause unwanted slack or not enough slack to where it's gonna throw the tension out of whack, and then your lines, your power lines aren't going to be lined up. See right here is an example of that mistake. The tension isn't quite equal between these two lines. I think I'm going to want to fix this, where I'm going to have to clip this first one here and start over, because after gluing the second one, I created too much slack. And I understand in real world lines, especially when you're doing larger scales, like if you're able to do this on HO, it might be, most guys want some realistic prototypical slack in the lines, but when you're doing it this fine, you can't really worry about your realistic slack too much. You got to get them up without really slacking them out, and it's something else. Once you do this in N scale, it really is something different as far as a challenge goes. So I have these first two lines all the way down to the end here, and it's going to be even more fun to do the ones on the back, being that the board splits down the middle, to take it apart for stowage. I'm going to do the back ones with this board put away. You can see the seam right there, how the board splits down the middle. So I'm going to do these with this board brought to the front here, so I'm able to work on it in the front. I'll probably even have to flip it around, turn it around, so I have better access to those utility poles right there. So I finally dove into it. I was putting it off because the power line situation sounded daunting, which it is, but I just have to get through it and get it done, and I'm sure it'll look pretty decent, better than not having them at all, because it was a juggle of, hey, should I just not do the power lines? And but then I realized it looks kind of incomplete and empty without power lines, so we're doing them. And also in this video, I just want to show a couple additions. I got the rest of the palm trees on board here, so I added a couple more. I added taller palm trees. These tall palm trees I've had for a long time, which I intended for another layout, but these are the lowest end palm trees that Woodland Scenics offers. They're called Scenorama. They're kind of more intended for like school projects and dioramas and book floats, doing that sort of thing. Because when they came, they looked extremely shiny plastic, unrealistically colored. So I took some paint and I doctored them up. I painted the leaves to look less green and less shiny. painted up the trunks because the trunks were a very unrealistic dark brown the way they came. So I got them looking kind of more up to par to their better trees. So there's another one. There's a Woodland Scenic Scenorama tree on the left, and on the right is their higher quality tree. So it's worked out to be I think it's okay. It looks like a nice little mix. So got the rest of the trees on there, and I did some ground cover by the main street on this area over here. And the biggest thing I did last night was, I don't know if you remember on my previous video, but this area where this parking lot is now was bare. So last night I added this Woodland Scenic's built and ready grocery store, which is very, very neat, very nice, very detailed. Let me see if I can get it on video. It has a really nice card built interior detailing here. Kind of hard to see because of the light contrast. My camera on my phone's not the greatest, but hopefully you're picking some of it up there. Really, really excellent detailing on this building. I'm really happy with it. They're kind of pricey, but hey, saves a lot of, if you don't want to do all that painting and building. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be able to achieve, you see the structures that I've built, like these Walther structures, and I'm not at the level to achieve that kind of detail on this Woodland Scenic's built and ready. So that turned out great. And I did this back parking lot for it because I had it tucked up I initially had it more tucked up to the street edge here, and I was just gonna use the side parking lots, for vehicles. But then I realized, geez, if I have that tucked up against the street, it's gonna be pretty dangerous for the young ones to be riding that horse with cars whizzing by with no sidewalks. So I was forced to push it back a little bit and then create a little back parking lot here, which I did some little cracks and some weeds growing out of the cracks, that kind of thing, trying to make this look really, as weathered as possible, which I will continue universally working on the entire layout with getting things more worn in and weathered looking. For example, this parking lot to this factory here needs the treatment. And so let's see, what else do we do? Oh yeah, we added this little, I showed that last video, never mind the switching tower. I added this German style house, which my local train store takes in collections, and this was a building that somebody tore off a layout and brought in. I picked it up for, I think I paid $6 or $8 for it, but very reasonably priced. Saves me some work. Looks pretty decent. So it added to the ambience of our residential area here. Did a little gravelish ballast parking lot for it with some shrubberies, and maybe I'll detail that more up in the future here as far as the property around it goes. And I'll talk about this guy in another video. That locomotive right there, pretty nice. Atlas is it's my first Atlas, and I'd have to say it has exceeded my expectations. And what else? Let me just do some, for the thread, just so you guys know about the power lines, here's the thread I'm using. And I had to look at a couple spools of thread, because the problem with just normal sewing thread is some tend to be fuzzier than others. So this is a thread I found to be less on the fuzzy side. So over time it's not gonna, I don't know if I can get that in focus there. Over time it's not gonna fuzz out. So that's the best I could come up with for thread on that. So let me just kind of pan around here. I don't know if I'm forgetting something at this point. I think I got it all. Let me just give you a little pan just to show you my additional scenery detail. Oh yeah, here's one thing up here I added. This was another little building that somebody tore off their layout and turned in with a collection as a little wooden cabin up there. Let's see if I can get closer. Little wooden cabin up here. Oops, by the orange trees. So we added that. Pan around. So happy Thanksgiving coming up, guys. This is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and we're all getting ready and excited to be with our families and have a delicious dinner. So we have that to look forward to this weekend. All we gotta do is make it through a couple work days and we're there. So panning down Main Street here. All right, guys, there you go. Thank you for joining me with another video this Sunday evening. And you guys have a great week. I expect to be posting an update with the completed lines and some more details. I have a couple things to add, like those are some little snack vending machines and some chain link fence, little hand cart, some peeps for the I'm gonna put those guys over by the freight terminal. And I also picked up some got my first peeps going on. Picked up some Woodland Scenics basic pedestrians to probably maybe put around this area. So just starting to populate, so it's getting more and more exciting. All right, guys, thank you for watching the vid, and you guys have a good evening, and I will catch up with you before Thanksgiving.